Hey, this is Jeff Holbrook with ArTechník podcast, and I am a moron. Why specifically today, you may ask? Well, you may know that we record some episodes via a three-way Skype conversation, and I unfortunately forgot to hit record on Aaron's part of the line-in. At the very beginning. He is in the episode, but you got to give it about 3 minutes before you hear his audio. Aaron will come in, and he is going to be talking about an exhibit called The Art of Scent, I believe is what it's called. And Adam and I have a little bit of banter beforehand, coming into it, basically talking about different kinds of scents and scent technology. Just so you know, that's what kind of ramps us up into it. I'm going to leave a little bit of Adam and my audio at the beginning, and you'll hear Aaron about 3.5 minutes through from the start of the show. So there you go. Thanks for listening, and see you next episode. Looks like we are going.
Look how far we've come now, baby. Should've took the long way.
Shania Twain, really?
I knew we'd get there someday.
Really?
They say. I won't sing anymore. Is it really recording now?
Yep.
Uh-oh.
We are going.
We don't have to pay for that, right?
I don't.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah. Come and get me, Shania. I dare you. That's right.
True. You're making an international affair, too. She's Canadian.
Oh, golly. Well, okay. I declare war on Canada.
Oh, jeez.
The deity of Adamantic has just declared war on Canada.
That's good.
That's not true. I love Canadians.
For breakfast. Hey. Right.
Oh, man.
Oh, boy. Well, hello.
Hey. So, just looking around and listening to us, what level of sick is everybody in? Because I know, Jeff, you're just getting over something. My body seems to be doing like a slow descent, like it started about a week ago. And I'm not like terribly ill, like I'm not like debilitatingly ill, but just, you know.
But you getting there. You on the slow train to death.
I am. Thanks.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah.
A little bit. Little bit. Yep.
Also referred to as the midnight train to Georgia.
I'm off of a little bit of whatever I had.
Yeah.
Coffee. And then I had food poisoning.
Golly.
Yay!
We lead such exciting lives when we're not podcasting, convalescing.
My abs feel great.
That's awesome.
No, it's not.
Well,
the
end result,
that's
maybe.
True. My face looks thinner. It's good.
Cool. I saw a story yesterday for a quick little snippet of something. Scientists have created in a lab a new smell.
Oh?
And they they call it what was it called again?
Puppy love.
No, it's like something. It's called something white, and the reason they call it white is because they said the equivalent of it would be like white noise for your nose. So that would be useful, like for like those perfume makers, and you know how when they're
tasters, food tasters,
food tasters. Yeah. I wonder if you could weaponize it in any way. Get on that, Department of Defense.
Basically like yelling in their nose.
Yeah.
In a way.
Or if it like wakens all of those little like if it's getting everything to fire, right? Like you could intensify, I don't know, pepper spray or something.
And then use that to fight Shania Twain.
Come and get me.
Come on, Canada.
Come and get me, Shay Tway.
Oh, God. What's going on, Shay Tway? Okay, and as promised, here is Aaron beginning his conversation on the topic of the museum exhibit, The Art of Scent.
Actually having their first, and as far as I can tell, the first major fragrance as art exhibit called The Art of Scent.
Cool.
And so it's literally a museum display of perfume fragrances from 1889 to modern day. And they've selected 12 primary fragrances to display. And so they have these little kiosks, which apparently have been around for like fragrance convention shows, but they've sort of refined and perfected them for a museum display of them. And it's this little concave hole in the wall that you stick your face into. And a motion detector notices that there's a person there and spritzes a prescribed amount in a specific pattern that hangs in the air without spreading. So this little cloud of scent hovers in this concave alcove and just sort of lingers there for a moment and then collapses rather than spreading through the room. So there's sort of a couple of interesting elements here. I think it's amazing that they've got the aromatic down to a designed point.
Like hang time and dispersal pattern. That's pretty amazing. Although what you started to describe sounded very much like a Japanese game show. Sticking your head through a hole and somebody hits you in the face with something. Yeah.
It's less a hole than sort of a bubble in. It kind of looks like a sink on its side up in the wall rather than like a little pie in the face hole at a carnival. Where you
Yeah. That's neat though. But that makes that makes sense for a museum. I mean, museums appeal to, your sense of sight and sound because there's a buzz there and, there's it kind of hits everything except the olfactory senses. So I guess it makes sense to go in that direction. Yeah.
That's one of the things they were thinking about is, you can use a museum for the other senses. Taste is also not very well represented.
Sure. Unless you're at a children's museum and then they put their mouth on everything, every display.
I didn't know where you were going with that joke.
Sorry.
I got really nervous.
No, you just, you see the little kids like they'll just clamp down on the handrail as you're going up the stairs and it's like, oh God, stop, please.
And so they've had several exhibits over, different people have done perfumery exhibits, but it tends to be about the bottle and the look of the packaging and the images used for the thing. But it's images, and this is really what they are trying to do is, because they say they've made the room as boring as possible, like as absolutely neutral as possible. And I bet if they had invented olfactory white a couple of months ago, they would have filled the main room with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
But they've tried to make the kiosk these sort of white monolithic towers with a concave area. And so that really the only thing you're focusing on is specifically the scent.
Now, there's speaking of olfactory white, there's other kinds of noises, right? So there's brown noise and pink noise and blue noise, right? I wonder if there are other kinds of, if they'll come up with, I don't want to know what olfactory brown would be.
Ugh.
I think we already know what olfactory brown would be.
Chili dog. Disney chili,
Chili
dog.
dog.
Disney chili dog.
Olfactory brown. But if this one's designed to hit just these receptors, still not be a scent, but be anyway.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, everything you're saying makes perfect sense because we've refined, I think, pretty well how we try to capture people and their attention, visually and auditorily and all those things, and we're still trying to figure out, exactly how smell works. And it's interesting if I remember about the way smell works, that's one of the few senses that the sensory thing feeds like directly into your brain. Like there's less processing time. Like everything else has to process through some different channels, and like the smells you smell, your brain captures faster than other senses.
Well, and smell's connected strongly to memory too, right? Like a smell will help
Yeah.
you get key into a memory
Yeah.
faster than
Yeah.
lots of other ways.
Like it's really weird whenever, and this is talking about that, when I smell kind of a stale sort of menthol cigarette smell mixed with any kind of sort of like a candy sort of sweet smell, like a hard candy,
Okay.
I instantly think of my grandparents' house growing up. They up in Philadelphia. They lived out in Westchester, one of the Westinghouse project areas, and there I cannot. When I smell that smell, I instantly can see like the wooden staircase. I can see the tiny little, Depression era kitchen that they, had for their entire marriage and entire life. And I can see every element of that house when I smell that smell, which is less common more and more. The older I get, I'm encountering it less and less. They probably don't make that brand of cigarettes anymore. So,
and it probably makes it that much stronger when it happens because it is more and more distinct of an aroma.
sure, yeah.
That combination. So he talks about several. They talk about how to describe these exhibits, how to curate the exhibit, with, paintings and stuff. You can talk about the history of the work and the era and the design styles and stuff, but they were trying to figure out how to curate this exhibit. And, if you look at a perfume sales catalog, it talks about the upper tones and the base tones and the accent tones, and it's sort of like the notes in the scent, and the people who create them are very much like, well, that's like saying he used a number 2 pencil and 3 squares of silk, and it's talking about the pieces rather than describing the actual scent. And so they were sort of in this point of difference on how to do the curating of the exhibit, how to talk about what you were smelling. And it reminded me, we don't have a lot of scent adjectives as a group. Adam was just describing a scent, and he came up with nouns and a list of components, but we don't have a lot of adjectives. And that reminded me of Calvin and Hobbes strip. I remember, it's sort of active memory about it, but Calvin is talking about how it's strange that we don't have a lot of scent adjectives as humans, and Hobbes, of course, responds that, well, if you live by scent like a tiger does, and he describes the fire, that fire has a snorky, brambish smell. It's a little bronky, but the low humidity affects that. And so it's this idea that animals who have this very strong sense of smell and live by that would have more of an adjective base for scents and aromas. So
Sure.
I thought that was sort of an interesting crosshatch there.
There's a Douglas Adams book called The Deeper Meaning of Liff, and it's basically it's a dictionary kind of, and it's a bunch of words that we don't have words for. It's a bunch of, like I forget what some of the words are, but an example of one definition was, that weird feeling you get when you sit in a seat that someone just sat in and it's still warm from their butt. And he had a word for that.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
That's very cool. I've seen several postings over the last year about having to go to foreign languages for words like that, and these lists of foreign words that explain sort of those thoughts and feelings and phenomenon that we just haven't decided to put a word with yet. And one of them, it was a French word, and I would again have to look up the word itself, but it was the call of the void. It was the literal translation.
Sounds French.
And it's that moment. It's that moment when you're on some high structure like a bridge or a building or a cliff or whatever, and for just a moment, without real intention of follow through, you consider what would happen if you jumped off the high structure. And that
just lasts a moment.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know the French word for that, and in fact, I don't remember the more descriptive American psychology word for that. But no, I remember there were reading an article a couple of years ago about how they say your brain, like when you have those fantasy impulse moments, like you're standing at the top of a bridge and you wonder, what if I jumped? Or you're talking to somebody.
Pushing somebody off the subway
Or
cliff.
pushing somebody, what if I just hit this person that I'm having a casual conversation with right now?
I have a lot of those.
Yeah. But they said it's a perfectly, normal, rational thing. It's almost like that's kind of a little release for your brain, and then your prefrontal cortex kicks in and says, "Don't do that."
Dummy.
Yeah. But they said
My
it's,
prefrontal cortex needs to speak up some more.
but impulse control.
Well, that's good
What
because
if
I
I
really.
quit my job and started a studio? Where were you, prefrontal cortex?
Well, apparently that one's a good idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, I frequently. I don't think I've ever been on a subway platform without having the thought about just a gentle nudge on that person's shoulder, and they will hit the
Yeah.
rails.
Oh, God.
I have the power to take their life from them right now.
Yeah.
Well, you are their god.
I am. Yeah, as soon as I said it, I was like, I creeped myself out when I said that, so I'm going to back away from that
You
statement.
could be the new Tales from the Dark Side narrator.
Ooh, yeah. That
Or
used to,
Goosebump.
the opening
No.
to that.
Are you afraid of the dark?
Yeah. The opening, the Tales from the Dark Side from
Oh, man, they used to freak
the
me out.
70s, 1980s one, which it might have been the only one. I don't know. But yeah, and it just had that voiceover narration, and they showed just like a tree, yeah,
And then it
with a road.
inverted.
Yeah, and all it did was it flipped the image and went from like a positive to sort of a negative, if
But
you were
they
looking.
had that classic sound effect.
Yeah. Yeah. And all it did was flip, and you were, going from this bright outside sunshiny, you're looking. But the thing that, in the moment watching it, it scared me. But the thing that I always found funny was the shot they were using was a forest, but there was clearly next to a road. So you saw a car coming down the road, and it would flip.
Oh, yeah.
So you would see the car almost leave the screen in that happy daylight shot, and then it would flip to the negative, and then you'd see the car drive back across the screen in the dark.
That's our producer, Phil. That's
Yeah.
his car. That's his car.
Yeah.
Meryl.
So.
Well, that was the audience member being drawn into the world, and instead of so you're seeing it from the other side, and now it's driving further into the darkness.
It's that moment of terror where you realize there is no escape.
There's not?
There is not.
There's not.
There is not.
You know what used to scare the hell out of me? The monsters in Howard the Duck. They
They were pretty scary, yeah.
monsters to me, kind of. And what was the name of the actor that was getting possessed slowly by the main one?
Jeffrey, he was in all those Tim Burton
But he
movies.
had that, like...
Yeah, it's Jeffrey something, but I can't remember.
Oh, he's the guy in Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a pretty long working relationship with Tim Burton
He was
until
great.
he had a,
Romantic
no,
entanglement. What
no.
happened?
He was
Dish.
he was discovered with trying to entice a minor to undress, and found with some pictures on his computer. Yeah.
I didn't know
So he
that.
went away for a couple of years. He's kind of re-entering the acting thing again in some, smaller movies. Yeah.
But not too small.
Not too small.
Because that's what got him in trouble in the first
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
I didn't know that at all. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. My heart broke when I heard about that
Yeah.
because he was just one of those really fun little character actors that just made a movie better by being in it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? The
yeah.
things he would do. And Devil's Advocate and that movie. Do you remember the one Remote Control? No. What was it? Zapped.
Battery's not included.
No. The one with John Ritter and Pam Dauber where they get sucked into the TV and
Not Stay Tuned.
I think that is it. Yeah, stay
I'm
tuned.
thinking of the Garfield video game from Sega.
He gets the ridiculous satellite dish and it gets struck by lightning.
And you find out, the cable company is like a front for, Satan, and it's this whole
To be
Faustian
fair,
sort of.
What was it, like Cox? Viacom?
But yeah, the Jeffrey, what's his name guy plays the
Jones.
Okay, yeah, plays the devil in that, and so he's the antagonist in that silly movie. Well,
There you go.
cool. Well,
I remember seeing that one. I liked it.
Yeah.
It wasn't like the great cinema, but it was funny.
it was really clever. All the little parodies as you jump through all the channels.
And imagine if they had it in Smell-O-Vision.
Oh.
Golly.
Well, Adam, looks
The
like
one
you have
last major point I had about the perfume thing,
Yes.
is that the scent makers have sort of this grand divide. They're sort of a little appreciative and
Is there a
interested.
French word for the Grand Divide?
Yes.
Le chasm.
They're appreciative and they think it's great that the scents are being admired and all of that, but several of them don't really think of themselves as artists. So it's sort of that division of the artist and the craftsman.
Okay. Right.
And I think that's sort of an interesting element to it, because I think I hit that in my own stuff, in my own work a little bit. I feel like I'm much more of a craftsperson as an actor than an artist. And like when I write and create a show, I feel much more like I'm doing it on the artistic side. And when I'm acting in somebody's show, I feel very much that I need to have skills and craft and precise work that I'm doing, but it's a craft more than an art for me.
Well, and I think that's I think that should be true for everybody, because I think my understanding, and I'm going to say what I think here, is the craft of it is it's the day to day, it's the grind, it's the skill that you fall back onto when like last week, I think I posed the question about if there's a moment where you had to draw on some personal experience or you glean some nugget from your past to attach to some project or character or something you're performing, and the fact is those moments of those eureka moments of connection and what we tend to think of as those artistic lightning in a bottle moments don't happen, and you can't predict them because it's all based on lightning in a bottle, emotion, these random chemical connections in your brain, and so you have to fall back on the craft of the moment, and that's the repeatable skill, the repeatable action, so that
theater demands consistency and that you repeat it.
Yeah,
you do the same thing for 40, 50, 100 shows.
So, I don't think that's a fail. I hope you're not presenting it
No,
as,
I don't
okay,
consider
good.
it a failing.
Good.
I think it's interesting that theater is an art and acting is a craft, and for me that is true.
So,
and
I tend to think of, when you're talking about writing, I tend to think of writing as sort of a craft, as far as a certain. I feel more like a craftsman when I write than an artist. It feels more like, well, these are the things I need to do to move things along. Maybe I feel like an artist when I'm working on character a little bit, but as far as scripts go, it's like, well, I know plot is a weakness for me, so I need to rely on as many people's tools and tricks to make a plot go forward and not just hang out in a room with characters all day.
And even going back to, I always go back to Hazel Hall Brennan's playwriting quote of, you commit to sit down and write every day. Whether it's an hour or you create some sort of pattern or routine, or you make your own craft of, how you're going to sit down and bang this thing out every day. And, if you're lucky, some moments that little bit of artistry or that little bit of inspiration hits. But you don't wait for that inspiration to hit. You make the commitment to sit down and write every day and,
Sure.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
I'm convinced. I changed my argument completely.
We've browbeaten him successfully.
Good.
Bam, 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 bam.
I have another member in my army for my Canadian invasion I'm mounting shortly
there
after
is
this
no
podcast.
art. Perhaps there is
Lord.
craft.
No.
Ooh.
No.
Watch out. Take the other
Short
side
answer. I don't think I am. We've debated that point on here before.
What are you arguing?
That's never stopped us from talking about things again.
I don't think we are arguing.
What are you discussing?
No.
missed the-
I don't think we're taking different sides here, are we?
I don't know what you're talking about. What you're taking different sides
Okay,
on.
all right, gentlemen. Don't hit each other. All right. Aaron said, I perhaps
There is no art,
there is
only
no
craft.
such- yes, and you said
And then
no, which puts you on opposite
Oh,
sides.
okay. I think I was just being a bit smart-assy
Well, so was
there.
Aaron.
There you go. See?
And yet there was a nugget of truth in both of your smart alegories.
I think we were just being all right. I think we were just being asses and taking the extremes, and I think really Aaron and I both. I think, and you can agree or disagree. I think we both meet in the middle. I think we realize that there's a
Boring.
balance. Yeah.
Compromise makes for shitty radio.
Wait, this is radio?
Well, old time radio.
Thank you, Nixon. That was your best impression to date.
Oh, I was trying to do Adam West. But now I know how to get there.
I think. I'm just going to say this, and you can agree or disagree. I think it meets somewhere in the middle. Aaron?
I think. Wow, now that I have to think about it, the more I think about it, I think what we can do is craft, and and an interesting point that you've made in the past is that art is more perception than creation.
Yeah.
So perhaps what one can create is craft, and what one can perceive can be art.
Yeah. I don't know if you could tell, Aaron, but the angle that you turned, it was as if you were giving a look to Jeff. Like you turned slightly to your left, and like because of where the monitor is, it looked like you were looking down. And at the exact same time, I turned to my right and looked at Jeff.
And I just sheepishly looked down.
He did. That was great. Okay, well, speaking of the fusion of sort of the craft and the art, an article that I'm
Are we
bringing.
going to talk about Zydeco?
No. But it is music.
We
It is
never
music
talk
related.
about Zydeco.
Okay.
I do like Zydeco music, though. I do.
So does Disney.
So this is I think I have to give a little bit of a history leading into what I'm going to talk about. The crux of what I'm talking about is this software for designing or creating a particular style of music, okay? And that particular style of music is called a maqam, which is an Arabic melody type or an Arabic type of music. Literally, maqam means like place or location. And so typically this style of music inhabits sort of Central Asia, North Africa, the Middle East, that area of the world. And if you've ever, in a movie or in some context where they're setting it in that location of the world, and they play, a particular type of music that sounds Middle Eastern.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's because it actually has a slightly different tonal progression than what we have in Western
Like
music.
an African thumb piano has
Yeah.
a different scale than
Yes.
the regular
Yeah. And the thing is, it's not an even progression. Like the Western tonal progression is, 8 notes in an octave, and that's 12 tones if you count all the sharps and the flat steps, and it's an even sort of
Right,
rise.
and that's why our chords work the way
Right.
they do, and yeah.
Well, in the maqam, typically it's a 7-note scale, and 2 of those note progressions are not even in any way. Like it's not a half step, it's not a quarter step, it's somewhere in between. And so typically there's no, or for the thousands of years it's been in existence, there wasn't a way to notate it because it varied from region to region. And so it was taught orally, it was taught by ear, and you learned from a master. They passed down their scale or their regional sort of spin on it, and then you ran with that. So I think that's all you need to know. They did say in the 20th century, because of course at some point they needed to create a way to notate it, and so they just fell back on the Western notation, which does have the the more even quarter tone progressions,
Right.
and you just have to understand that it's an approximation.
Not in the same place. It's a different. Does the staff have the same number of lines, or do we know?
My understanding is yes.
It's just this. It's okay. Right,
Yeah,
right.
just to kind of standardize it, and
So you're saying that they adapt to the right way of doing things, that with their heathenistic music.
I'm not saying that.
No, I'm just kidding. Rush Limbaugh's saying that.
Rush Limbaugh would probably say that.
Right.
But yeah, so that's what's out there, and they said it's very interesting too because I came across. Excuse me. I came across a couple of different studies where they played different Maqam scaled music. One of them is called Saba, and they played it for an Arabic audience, and culturally it meant one thing to them, and then they played it for a non-Arabic audience, and it meant something almost completely polar opposite. In the example of the Saba that I just talked about, it said the Arab audiences listening to the Saba scales and the music composed on this described it as being sad, tragic, lamenting, whereas the non-Arab listeners viewed the music they were listening to on the Saba scale as being very serious and tense and, not sad and lamenting. And so I'm kind of putting out there that the idea is this music has a cultural.
It's contextual.
Thank you.
Everything, it's contextual.
Right.
This is elite, but go with me. It's the problem of putting two people and whatever we put else, a hydrogen atom or whatever else we put on the plaque to send to Voyager to go out into space. How do you communicate to someone that is not you what you are and what you believe and what you're trying.
Yeah.
How do you describe?
Yeah.
It's all contextual.
And man, just to take a leap back for a minute, based on what you were talking about, the smells, Aaron, how smells and taste can have a cultural context as well.
I agree.
I remember, and I'm going to leap off my article for just a second, but I remember World of Coca-Cola. And you go through the exhibit at the very end, you get to sample all the different sodas from all over the world. And I remember doing this at the age of 12, and how typically all of the sodas that were specific to the Middle Eastern region had a very bitter undertone to it. Whereas all the American not even the European ones, but specifically the North American sodas were all very, very, very sweet.
Right.
So
I come across this a lot because I like a lot of really bitter things.
Sure.
A lot of black coffee, a lot of things like that. But I forget that biologically, isn't it true that everyone tastes just a little different because of however we're calibrated?
Sure.
So there's a reason biologically why some people like more bitter things, and there's a reason. I mean, I think part of it's biological and part of it's environmental. Because when I was growing up, it was a lot of sweet tea, it was a lot of Coca-Cola, a lot of starchy breads and things that I think messed with my blood sugar a lot or whatever.
Sure.
And now they do a lot more bitter things. If I go to something sweet, not only do I notice that it's very sweet, but I notice the effect that it has on I guess, my sugar levels.
My
Maybe I
sugar.
got that sugar diabetes.
Ooh, diabetes. The password is diabetes.
Diabetes.
Yeah. But yeah, so the idea is these things that appeal to our senses, whether it's musical notes, whether it's a taste, whether it's a smell. That'd be interesting. I'd be curious to see how this might play in a that museum exhibit in a non-Western culture.
You think we should make a sweet tea museum for all the Yanks?
Sometimes I feel like where do
There
they?
are levels of tea, though.
There are levels of tea.
For example,
Okay.
I had talking about something taking you back to a place. All right, I had a pitcher in my fridge that I made iced coffee in, and it had sat there for a couple of days or whatever. And I go and I wash it out, and I'm gonna brew some tea, and so I do a cold brew tea. Right, so I wash out, I rinse out the thing or whatever, and I cold brew the tea in there, and I put it in there. But I must not have rinsed thoroughly enough because the tea had a very coffee kind of base to it. I mean, that stuff, it sticks, it's potent.
Yeah.
But it tasted just like I suddenly was flashback to my grandfather's house because he always brewed his tea in his coffee pot.
Huh.
And it tasted just like my grandpa's tea, and I was suddenly like, I could remember. And the thing I associate that with the most is instantly my hand. I could feel the impression of the kind of glass that he always had, and it was a glass that had these really sharp little diamond points all around. One
I
side.
know.
You
Yeah, I know
what
what
I'm
you're talking about. Yeah.
But I taste that, and instantly this mug that I'm holding, suddenly my hand thinks it is that glass.
Right. Enough
And I can
senses.
actually feel it right now. As I
Yeah.
talk about it. It's really neat.
Enough senses lined up. Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool
yeah.
beans. So again, just putting the idea out there that things have a cultural context, the senses. And so this guy named Jace Clayton, who goes by the name DJ Rupture, created this thing called Sufi plugins, and he's quite prolific. He's DJ'd with Nora Jones on tour. He's lectured at Harvard. He has his own radio show. He has a great website, a record label called Duddy Arts. And anyway, this program that he created called Sufi plugins came out of a trip where he went to Barcelona. And how typically when musicians get together, they pull out their instruments and say, "Hey, let's jam," and that happened. However, when they pulled out their instruments, and for him, his instruments are digital and mixing and things like that. His mixing programs were all based on the sort of Western even note progression, and the person he wanted to jam with, their instrumentation was all on the Machwam scale. And so they can't fit together because you've got, clashing notes and, it doesn't fit together. So that inspired him to create this thing called the Sufi plugin, which he made on Ableton.
The thing Jim uses.
Yeah. And so basically it's a digital interface that tunes itself to Machwam scales, and you can pick, Saba or other ones like that. You can decide which one, but then there's also little interactive digital knobs so that you can fine tune, up or down, change the timbre of the note to match whatever particular scale you might be trying to create or capture.
All the regional variations.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And basically, this came out of, and he had so many great quotes as to why he decided to do this. Again, he comes out of a background of DJing and mixing, and I think he's about our age, or maybe a little bit older, and so
Early 20s.
Yeah, and so he was, he grew up in a culture where it was, back in the 80s of, mixing on turntables and stuff like that. And he had this great quote about the early hip hoppers. He says, "The genius of those early hip hoppers remains a huge inspiration to him. They took devices intended for playback only and taught kids all over the world to think of records and turntables as hackable tools, as fragments of a conversation, as ours to open up and tinker with." And so that's kind of the position, that, the perspective that he comes out of in all the music he creates, and why he created this Sufi plugin. And so, again, then the next leap was, as we were discussing just a moment about, taste come out of and are encoded from a cultural background. There's some heredity in there, but a lot of times we choose the things we do because of the environment we are brought up in.
Right.
And so the next step for him was how digital environments and the software and the tools that we use, that's also a cultural thing, and how that can shape and dictate what choices we make in the music and the plays we write, the stories we write, yada yada. And so he created this Sufi plugin, and it's really neat. It's let's hear, all the displays, they said, are written in Berber. It has lots of knobs and dials so that you can, change the timbre of, certain notes. And talking about the artistry, when you hover over certain controls, it gives you a little snippet of Sufi poetry. Yeah.
cool.
And so again, there's a cultural connection in there. And for those out there that don't know, Sufism is kind of it's usually described as sort of a mystical version of Islam, which is traditionally how it's been held, but not completely descriptive of what it is.
Right.
It is kind of a mystical offshoot of Islam. It's Sufi. I think the root word meant truth, and so it's basically a pursuant of the truth. And Sufism generally holds the idea that the truth and the divine is out there, and all the different religions are just different ways to approach that universal divine or that universal truth. And there's a lot of really beautiful poetry. There's a famous Sufi poet named Rumi, but that's a whole little tangent. But yeah, so when you hover over the controls of this thing, you get little snippets of Sufi poetry, and so and there's also a function. There's also a function on there for the more, for people that are practicing Islam, that are Muslim. There's settings on this Sufi plugin that will basically ding a reminder during the day for the moments of devotion and prayer. And it has 3 settings. The presets are agnostic.
Right.
So I would imagine no bell tones are given. Fervent, which I guess give you a gentle reminder, or maybe dings twice a day, and then devout, which would ring 5 times, because traditionally you take 5 prayer breaks.
And it won't let you actually work during the devotional time. It shuts down the software.
Possibly, yeah. It didn't go into deep detail, but the idea was basically, if you're working on a new track or something, and you've got the headphones in, and you fall into that. What's the word? Something
Flow time.
Flow time. Thank you. You slip into flow time, and you've got the headphones on. Then you're not going to hear the call by the muezzin that it's time to pray. So
I'm imagining when Aaron said the software wouldn't work. I'm imagining Nedry. You didn't say the secret word.
Yeah. So it's just absolutely beautiful. And one last quote I'll end with. I know I've been talking a bit from him. Let's see here. Talking about the Sufi plugin, the software, as much as it is a tool which many people are now using, I want it to kind of operate more like an art piece, which is to create questions.
Huh.
Yeah. So that man's name again is Jace Clayton, DJ Rupture. Check him out. Fascinating guy.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have anything else.
Well, that's
All right.
Because I have stuff, but I feel like it'd be shoehorning it in, and it's probably about that time.
That's getting close.
So why don't we mystically move to our non-Western tonal sign-offs?
Okay.
Or something. I'm Jeff.
Oh,
and I am pondering the mystery of the craft of the art of sign-offs.
I'm Aaron, and I smell like art.
I am Adam, and the 5 senses are the. Let me start that over. I am Adam, and sorry, I know what I want to say, but it's going to come out so ineloquently. I am Adam, and accessing the 5 senses are the only true gateway to the past.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Or a time gate.
A time gate, yeah, okay. So if we could create an art or a something that used all 5 of them together, that would create a little swirling vortex that we could jump into.
I think so.
That's what I understood you to say.
I like to think that every week people come in and jump into a swirling vortex that is this podcast.
A swirling vortex that is this podcast.
Say goodnight, Gracie.
Good night,
Good night,
Gracie.
Gracie.
Did I just... Yeah.
Aaron, you sound far away. Are you far away? Where are you living?
He's in Stone Mountain, yeah.
Oh, well, that explains why he sounds so far away.
Doesn't anybody stay in one place anymore? We're taking requests today here on the podcast.